I landed in Cancun and made my way to the other side of Mexico. And along the way, I just kept meeting people that I told my plan to, and everyone thought I was insane. They thought that I had a death wish, basically, because people associate Culiacan with violence and danger, mostly with the cartel. Most people didn't even know what Culiacan was until I mentioned El Chapo. So coming here was something I was a little bit nervous about, but not quite, because I kept thinking, like, yes, the danger was a part of what drew me here, of course. Like, I'm not going to lie about it. But coming here and seeing it, it wasn't at all what I thought it would be. It's very different. I met Hiram. He showed me around, and I got a completely different image. I didn't even think it was that cool anymore that I went to this Narco-Town, like they called it, because it's not a narco town. You can see narco in it. You can see narco culture. You can hear narco music. They have different outfits. They have different ways of being, and it's very present still. But it's not narco town. There's so much more to it that you can see. Like walking down the park and just seeing all these families and people just together. It doesn't look like a narco town to me. It doesn't look like a dangerous town to me. I felt very safe walking around, even at night. You see all families just biking around together, having picnic and enjoying themselves. Just around the corner from the money laundering street, you'll find this hidden gem. In Culiacan, I didn't know this before coming there, but it's known for its birria. So Hiram took me to this restaurant nearby, and I don't know what to say. I don't know how this is not talked about more. I've been traveling around Mexico for a while now. This food is just incredible. The meat, I don't know how to explain this meat, because you eat tacos all around Mexico, but I feel like the meat I've had in Culiacan, without stepping on anyone's toes, is by far the best meat I've had in Mexico. They do the tortillas, handmade from scratch, which you can find pretty much anywhere in Mexico, but like that combination with the meat, it's just to me, it's just heaven. And they have the soup as well, like the broth with it, and it's just, I don't know. I got blown away. He kept taking me there several times because I couldn't just go once, honestly. Traveling, like when I left Culiacan and I had to talk to, I talked to other people about it. I think the thing I talked most about was the people and the food. There's so much street food there. Spending a lot of time in Mexico, coming back to Culiacan, I was just still equally excited about having that taco, that birria again, which is, say a thing or two. I've been here almost 7 months at this point, and I'm still obsessed, despite eating like 1,000 tacos at this point. The sushi in Culiacan is also something I didn't know about. The fact that they have the ocean just 1 hour away makes it home to so much fresh seafood, and this shows in the sushi. They have their own kind of style. I wouldn't say that it's similar to any kind of sushi I've ever had before, but it's good. It's really good. I can't deny that. The nightlife in Culiacan is very alive. They have one main bar street, I would say, where seems to be at least almost always some kind of activity. I obviously didn't care what I was doing, because I literally did not feel like anyone cared. Later on, we went out. We met Hiram's friend at one of his favorite restaurants, and it was just live music. Everyone was happy. The food was 10 out of 10. I just really enjoyed it, really. It's a very social environment. I would say everyone is very interested in it. Then that also might be because it's not there are tourists coming there, but maybe not as frequent as a place like Puerto Escondido, Cancun. So when they talk to you, they really want to know everything, and they really want to show you everything as well. So it's a very welcoming atmosphere, and you don't really feel like a tourist. I feel like they just, like, I immediately felt like if I stayed here, I wouldn't feel alone. I wouldn't feel like I had no friends. It would take me like a day and then I would know people, because of the fact that everyone is just so welcoming and so happy to have you there. I was lucky enough to witness a tradition called La Novia de Culiacan. It's basically something that they have every year, but because of COVID, it was not as present, but they were still doing it, just more carefully. The story goes back to the 50s, and it's about a young woman named Lupita. And Lupita falls in love and meets like the love of her life, essentially. And she's so happy because one day he decides to propose to her. And she's all excited with these news, and she goes and tells her best friend Ernesto this. The story ends with Ernesto killing Lupita's soon-to-be husband on the altar of their wedding day. And the story is something that they showcase every year, because after this, Lupita was seen walking around town in her wedding dress every day since this happened. It's a true story. Hiram told me like his parents knew about Lupita, so it's something that really happened. And to remember this, they go out on the streets every year. For me, it was very interesting to see that some of the girls had libertad embroidered into their clothes. And I saw another girl who had a picture of her friend that died because of the violence. So it's not only to commemorate the memory of Lupita and what happened, but also a political statement for many in many ways, to show that they're against the violence and want the freedom. One of the crazier things that I saw in Culiacan was the cemetery called Jardines de Lumaya. Looks like an Arabic one. Oh, nice. And it's crazy. And you're just gonna see why it's crazy. I've never seen anything like this before. This is like a huge cemetery. It's very common that the people from the narcos, the cartel, get buried in this place. So they will have huge houses like this, where either they're by themselves or with their family. Honestly, somebody could just live here. It's big enough for somebody to live. There are people living on the streets, but houses like these exist for someone just to be, well, dead inside. It's huge. I've never seen anything like this. It's very common. Like, I know that they did it in the past, for example, the Egyptians, but having this at this day and age just shows what kind of, in a way, it's very much about power, because many of them get buried with their stuff, and like cars, for example, and also the taxi driver on our way here. Don't know if this is true, but he told us that sometimes the narcos come to the graves and celebrate the person who's dead inside, so they will buy the alcohol they loved, food they loved, and put on music with like, well, banda music, and play different songs that the person who is dead loved, just to celebrate for them, which is just crazy, I think, because we don't have this where I'm from, and I don't think many countries have this in this way. Look at this. It looks like back in Sweden when you live in like the rich neighborhoods, like a house like this. Well, not Sweden with the palm trees, but like the level.
And there's nothing in the house. It's just empty with pictures of a person. Look at the staircase. Just look at this. Like, this is a proper home. Also been told that it's very common that people who have problems, maybe with the cartel or other kinds of problems, they hide in these houses because these are proper houses. So in a way, they break in and then they stay here. It's a good hideout. I mean, nobody's gonna go look at a graveyard and nobody's using this house. So yeah, it's super creepy. I would never do it myself, but it's a smart way to hide if you need somewhere to stay. In a way, this whole thing is kind of just a display of power, but it's also for everyone. Like, yes, this is used a lot by the narcos, but this is for everyone who can afford it, like, at the end of the day. So it's not just for the narcos, but it's very much about showcasing what you can do with your money.
We sit down in the cab after the cemetery and ask the taxi driver where he thinks we should go. And he told us to go to La Capilla de Malverde. And we got there, and it's basically a chapel for Jesus Malverde. And I've seen many types of places like this before, but nothing like this. They had pictures of him with, not with El Chapo, but El Chapo being in the same picture. Why is it marijuana leaves on it? ¿Cuánto para este?
¿A 50 esos?
¿50?
Sí.
Y el otro es 20.
El otro de 20.
Qué bueno. I feel like I'm never gonna see anything like this again, or like be able to buy it anywhere else, because this is not a part of any other town, really. People are praying there, and that's a daily occurrence. And I was lucky enough to meet the owner of the whole chapel as well, and ask him a few questions about everything and who Jesus was. We're standing with the owner of this sanctuary for Jesus Malverde. So I just want to know, I'm gonna ask him who is Jesus Malverde for him. So, entonces, para ti, ¿quién es Jesus Malverde?
Malverde es un santito muy milagroso. ¿Sí? Él le robaba a los ricos para los pobres. Le dicen el robo hijo mexicano. Es lo que él hacía. Él le robaba a los hacendados, a los ricos le robaba y le dieron a la gente pobre. Ahí lo colgaron. A 100 metros de aquí en la capilla, ahí en la esquina, ahí fue donde lo colgaron a él. El gobierno lo mandó a matar porque él le robaba al gobierno y le dieron a la gente pobre.
A visitar tu capilla y a venerar este altar. Tú sabes que no podía por la bronca que uno trae.
The president at the time did not like Malverde's actions because he would steal from the rich and give to the poor. So they decided to murder him. But this also came with something good in a sense, because he kind of became a saint in the town after this. That's why many people go there, often show some kind of gratitude before they just ask for something. Either they buy a candle that they lit, or bring beers or money, or promises to get a band to play for like a week there. Many different things that they do to show gratitude when they ask Malverde for stuff, because him doing all these good things and the people knowing that the government are neglecting them, he did so much more for them that the government did. So that's why they go there and have this chapel for him. Along the way, many people thought I was stupid and naive for doing what I did. Many things also happened that made me think I would never get here, but I did eventually. So, naturally, I wanted to commemorate this with a tattoo. Being drawn to the classic symbol for flower power and what it represents, I decided to go for the following. It's a bit aggressive at first, but just bear with me. It's an AK-47 representing the active cartel. Poppy seeds flower inside it that grow in the mountains of Sinaloa to represent the people living inside the violence. The poppy seed flower is a beautiful one in its natural state, despite what you can do with it. The flowers change the image and vibe completely, which is how I see the city. Culiacan really has a certain vibe for me as an outsider. The last big incident happened 2019 when they found El Chapo's son, and the streets turned into a war zone. They called it Jueves Negro, which translates to Black Thursday. And it wasn't very long ago. It's a very unexpected type of danger rather than constant. We visited an art exhibition run by Jaime Sevilla and Jorge Schiller, running La Mina, who aimed to show this exact vibe of the city with the pieces that they work with. All their pieces were from different local artists, everyone working with nothing more than what they had, keeping it very minimalistic. And in my eyes, this kind of also shows the new age wave that is thriving in the city. I've been wanting to come to Culiacan since I watched this Netflix series called Reina del Sur. And in every episode, or almost every episode, someone would mention where the girl in the series is from, and it would be like Culiacan, and then everyone would get scared. Couldn't stop thinking, what is Culiacan? So I looked at El Chapo, I looked at Narco-Mexico, and after that, the idea kind of just got stuck in my head. I have no idea why. But I didn't tell anyone this. I decided not to tell people, and then I went to northern Argentina in the small little town called Cafayate and met this girl from Italy called Claudia. And for some reason I decided that I'm gonna tell her this. And then she just goes, oh, I know someone from there. He's a photographer slash videographer. I met him in New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. Which to me was just like, what are the odds? Because I wanted to do a video. And then her knowing someone from Culiacan, because I always said I won't go there unless I have a contact. And then she knows someone who's a videographer slash photographer. The chances of him working with what I've always wanted to do was just amazing to me. And then I ended up ending my trip in Mexico, but then COVID came, so I had to go back to Sweden. And then I left again and eventually met Hiram. He started telling me about Culiacan, and he told me about him. When he says where he's from, if he says it to the wrong person, it could be dangerous, and that people have this misconception of, which I noticed on my way to Culiacan, that it's just a cartel town. So we want to show with this video parts of Culiacan that people don't normally maybe associate Culiacan with, to show the vibe and show the city without only talking about the narcos. ¿Y por qué se llama chocolate?
La almeja chocolate.
Ajá.
Por el color.
¿En el dentro?
Ajá.
No, por el
Por el color de afuera. Pero adentro también tiene como su piel,
Ajá.
como la lengua tiene como anaranjadita. Por eso le dicen. Es que ahorita se abren. Esta está bien. Ahorita se abre.
I want to try
Estos
one.
son los opciones.
¿Cuánto cuesta una?
15.
Ok, quiero probar una. God, are alive? You shouldn't have told me that. Oh no. Okay.
It's so yummy.
Now I'm fucking. ¿Cómo que?
Just-
¿Todo?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I like the flavor, but I just killed something. So I'm like, pienso que este es más rico, sí. Porque este solo es mucho sal. Para mí. So this one is so big.
Yeah, that one is so big.
Pero
A ver, bro.
coming here as a solo female traveler, I think, should show people a lot. That's why we want to show the place, and the fact that I came by myself.
It's nice.
Look at this.
Okay. Shows what travel can give, and it shows that if you put your intention out there and it's the right intention and you have this very clear goal of what you want to do, the universe just has its ways, because how we met is just, to me, it's just incredible. And I'm happy.